The Braves had a couple of veterans making their spring training debuts over the last couple of days, and they both showed out. The first being Chris Sale, obviously 7-time All-Star. Everyone's excited. It was probably the most exciting spring training debut that we're going to have. Well, it's by far the most exciting spring training debut that we're going to have because it was his Braves debut, and we wanted to see how he would look coming off a bunch of injuries, about 4 years worth of injuries. He had his first healthy offseason, and damn, did he look good. 4 strikeouts and 6 batters he faced, 2 perfect innings, 7 whiffs, and 11 batters. I said it. He's got all-star stuff. There's no doubt about it. If he is on the mound, he is going to be an all-star for the Atlanta Braves. He's going to be in the Cy Young conversation. The only reason he would not be in the Cy Young conversation is because the Atlanta Braves probably aren't going to push him that hard. They're not going to try to get him to throw 200 innings when he hasn't done that in 5 years. Probably going to sit around that 150 mark. But regardless, you know why we got him. We got him for the postseason. Yeah. Get him healthy. He was throwing 97. He was throwing BBs out there with 18 inches of run. So exciting if you are a Braves fan, and I think guys are going to absolutely love this guy. Just hope he stays healthy.
I love spring training. If your guy's doing bad, he's working on his stuff, but he does good. He's a Cy Young, and that's how we're acting. And it is exciting because the only thing holding Chris Sale back at this point in his career is injuries. And he's, very confident this offseason down there in Northport about how he feels good. This is the first time in years he's actually come into an offseason without having to rehab a specific injury. And obviously that's a huge deal for a guy who's approaching his age 35 or 36 season to kind of just get back into a rhythm again. He's near his family in Florida. So not only physically is he good, he's mentally good. And obviously he's physically good. As Chase mentioned, all of those impressive stats to boast. The only thing we have to worry about is injuries with Chris Sale. And I don't care if he throws 150 innings. I don't care if he throws 100 innings. I don't care if he throws 1 inning. As long as he is himself in October, the acquisition will have been worth it for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, spring training stats are indeed meaningless, but I can look at it.
Unless it fits my narrative.
Yeah, even that, that is a good joke. I love that joke because it is true, and I will definitely do that. I love a good narrative push, especially if it's my narrative. But I will say, you can look at a picture and know when that guy's stuff is just out of this world, and that's what Chris Sale looked like, and that was his first start of spring training. There's reason to be excited.
Yep.
Another reason to be excited, Ken Giles. Now, this guy hasn't pitched since 2019. Another guy, or hasn't pitched a full season since 2019. He was one of the best relievers in the league from about 2014 to 2019. He gets picked up after Tommy John surgery. He's only had 5 appearances since 2019. Was really bad last year in AAA for the Los Angeles Dodgers. But he goes out there in his first spring training debut, strikes out the side. And he didn't just strike out a bunch of double-A'ers that are going to be sent down to the minors. He struck out Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, and Alec Bohm. Now, when you talk about veterans that could earn an opening day roster spot because they don't have options and stuff like that, I think Ken Giles, if he looks anything like that, the rest of spring training, pencil his name on the opening day roster because they're going to want to get a good look at him.
Yeah, another Alex Anthopoulos diamond in the rough potentially. And it just goes to show that guy is probably on the outside, definitely on the outside looking into this bullpen race, position race. And that just goes to show the breadth of talent that this, not only the rotation, as we mentioned, there's 4 or 5 guys competing for just that 5th spot in the rotation. There's 5 or 6 guys competing for, 2 spots in the bullpen. And then you got another 5 guys who are locked in, who are comfortable in high leverage situations. Yeah, Giles is just another example of Alex Anthopoulos being able to spot talent. Tyler Matzek is obviously the best known example of Anthopoulos's finding diamonds in the rough. Giles could very well be that next guy.
Yeah, and that was such a Braves specialty because no one even knew he was signed. All of a sudden, the Braves just released their list of non-roster invitees to spring training, and he's just on the list. Ken Giles, you mean former all-star closer Ken Giles? Last time we saw him over a full season, 1.87 ERA with 23 saves. Ken Giles, that's who you're talking about? I didn't even know he was still pitching. Frankly, I didn't. And then he just appears on the Braves list of non-roster invites, and that stuff was good. 94, 95, sinking action. Listen, if you can strike out those 3 guys your first time back on a big league mound, and every one of his appearances is different. He's not just working on things. He's trying to make a roster spot. So every one of those things comes with some pressure. So it's really good to see him respond the way that he did. Coming up after the break, which SEC teams are going to make the college football playoffs next season?